left on Kringle Fields near our house. There was a lad there called Tony Rafferty, he was captain. I know he was a good player, but lazy. Those summer afternoons you'd hear Tony Rafferty screaming at Noel, "Fucking hell, Brezhnev, chase that bleeding ball!" Noel hates having a piss taken out of him, not because he's precious, but believe it or not, he's hypersensitive. We all are. It's funny how our Noel ended up playing the guitar. In fact, I was the first to get a guitar, and Noel used to play with it. He'd have been about 8 then, which is 6 years younger than Eric Clapton when he started playing. Our Noel was really into the guitar, and could play it better than me, despite the fact that I jealously tried to restrict his time on it, and refused to show him any more than a few chords. In the end, our man bought Noel a guitar out of the catalogue for about £25 to £30 and paid it off weekly. He was seriously into playing the guitar like some junior junkie. Noel's strumming on his guitar was an incessant but almost comfortably familiar sound in our house at night. Then he got an electric guitar and an amp, and it was like, "Hello, rock and roll will never die." He'd crank the volume up and have that guitar squealing out all kinds of tunes and riffs. Noel always hated our dad, almost with a vengeance. It used to drive our dad mad just by sitting there saying nothing. Our dad would be ranting and raving at Noel to answer some question, or telling him to do something, and Noel would just sit there as if our dad wasn't even in the room. Noel used to annoy my dad by rejecting his Irishness. He didn't want to do all the things expected of Irish kids, and it wound my dad up. Our Noel was determined not to kowtow as often as I did, but it was a dangerous game to play, and only annoyed our dad more. Still, in our Noel's mind, he could feel superior to me for standing up to him. There were crazy games in the Gallagher family. Noel, he always had lots of friends. He was always popular with the girls too. He had girlfriends from the age of 8 onwards. Later in life, he'd bring them home to get my mother's verdict. He was always a steady type, Noel, and he liked to have a relationship on the go. He was engaged when he was 18 to a girl from Levenshulme, called Diane, I think. Despite romantically buying her an engagement ring from our mum's catalogue, it didn't work out. Louise Jones was his first big love. He went out with her for 6 years and moved out of our home to live with her when he was 22 or 23. Louise is really into going out and clubbing, and she's quite tough with a strong personality. She could be as moody as him as well, so they were like soulmates for a while. Soon after splitting up with her, Noel admitted, "I don't think I'll ever get over it." About a year after they split up, he met his current girlfriend, Meg Matthews, through a friend, Rebecca DeRuvo, the MTV presenter. Noel seems quite happy and settled now, and our mum likes Meg a lot. So how can I sum Noel up? He's very ambitious, he always was. He's not fantastically confident, but quite brave, funny, intelligent, a bit paranoid at times, and incredibly big-headed and very moody. I sometimes think that Noel does think he's better than everyone else, and I don't mean just musically. He loves music. He likes to hang out with cool people, always wanting and needing to be the best. But then, all the Gallagher boys do. Noel's got a strong love-hate relationship with Liam. Like I say, we've always been like that with each other. Liam goes mad at Noel when he slags him off, but that's because Noel's better at it than Liam. This is one of Noel's quotes about Liam. "Me and our kid don't want to be rock stars, but when you come and watch us, we are. We disagree on everything, except that we're members of the same band. He'll be one of the greats, because he's not trying to be a rock star. He'll upset loads of people and just carry on and not give a damn. I give him the songs and say, right, sing that and keep out of my way." He was pretty cool at school, but since being in the band he's gone completely off the wall. He's beyond therapy. If I lived in America I would have blown his head off by now and completely regretted it. Since I live in England I just give him a black eye or something every now and then, shut him up. He doesn't write lyrics, he doesn't play any instrument, doesn't write anything. All he's required to do is stand there and sing and look good. And I think he gets pissed off by the fact that he doesn't actually do anything, because he can't. I can't recall the time when I was the only child. Arno was always around. Born 16 months after me, we went through childhood being dressed identically by me mum, so that people thought we were twins, and being hit the same by me dad. We even had identical bruises. Most of my mother's sisters were living in Manchester back then, and because my dad was frequently away, working, or just out and about, my aunties were often round at our house. They did spoil Noel and me, always making a fuss of us and giving us sweets. Noel especially was referred to as Mammy's little blue-eyed boy, until an even younger Gallagher came along to lay claim to that title. Our mother was immensely proud of us and took great joy in trying to give us the best and going without so much herself. Our favourite toys were cars. We had loads of them. Dinky cars, matchbox cars, corgi cars, even the James Bond Goldfinger Aston Martin with the ejector seat. Oh, and how could I forget those cement mixer lorries and my Meccano crane, which I didn't know how to make. I basically had a toy building site, which was about as close as I wanted to be to me dad. Because I was so sheltered and indulged at home by my mum and my aunties, I was frightened to death of starting at St. Robert's Catholic Primary School. Every day my mum would literally have to drag me there, and I'd be screaming that I didn't want to go. At play time, I was always on my own. The other kids used to make fun of me stammer. I had a really bad one, so did our Noel. Our stammers were so pronounced that in the end our mum took us for speech therapy every week for 4 years to clear them up. Sweets were my comfort at that age. It was around that time I was rushed to hospital to get my stomach pumped. I'd found a bottle of orange-flavoured Junior Disprin at home and eaten the lot. Well, that would have been a real rock-and-roll suicide, overdosing on Junior Disprin at the age of 5. It was around this time that we acquired a new little brother, a screaming, whinging brat. He cried a lot when he was a baby too. Liam was christened William John Gallagher, the William part being changed later to the Irish version of the name Liam. All the way through the pregnancy my mother kept saying she was sure it would be a girl, but instead it was a bouncing, handsome bundle of a boy who was destined one day to perform in front of the thousands and started exercising his vocal cords from day one with all kinds of wailing. Bless him. A few weeks after Liam was born, we moved house from Sandycross Street in Longsight to the plusher surrounds of a 3-bedroom council house in leafy Burnage. A change of house meant a new skill, and we started at St. Bernard's Catholic Primary School on Burnage Lane. We settled in well round Burnage and played outside a lot more than we could in Longsight. I'm not bragging when I say that I was the first of my mother's sons to show a talent for music by getting into the school choir when I was 7. I got some stick from the other lads at school because I was the only boy, but I loved it. Like Pavarotti, my voice was my instrument. It was my only claim to fame, the only thing I was recognised as having done well, probably to this date. We sang in Mass every Sunday and on other special church occasions. Being in that choir meant everything to me, so you can imagine how I felt when my dad put the brakes on it. I was 10. I'd been in the choir for nearly 3 years, and it was going to be a big event. On a Saturday morning, the St. Bernard's Church Choir had been asked to sing at an ordination ceremony. We practised all the hymns, and we were looking forward to it. Then my dad suddenly announces that he wants me to go off with him at 7 o'clock that Saturday morning to a house in Bolton to help him lay a new concrete floor in some old lady's house. He said, "Remember, choirs are for sissies and girls. I'll take you out working with me and make a man out of you." So while the rest of the choir were off singing at his priest's ordination, I was mixing concrete. When I returned to school on the Monday, I was told by our priests, Father Tangi and Father Arkwright, that my vocal services were no longer required, as it was deemed a cardinal sin for a member of the choir not to turn up to sing at the ordination of a young priest. To this day, it's the one thing that really hurts. Not any of the beatings my dad gave me, but getting kicked out of that choir. When I was 11, I went to St. Mark's Senior School, an all-boys Catholic comprehensive. Every summer we'd escape from our dad for 5 weeks or so by going to Ireland with my mum and her brother, our Uncle Paddy. Paddy lived in Yorkshire, and he'd drive across to pick us up in his car and take us to Holyhead, where we'd get the ferry across to Dunleary, and then we'd all drive over to Charlestown, County Mayo, for a few stress-free weeks. Around this time I desperately wanted some money for my football cards, as I was mad on them for a while. This was the period when my dad was earning a big wage, and yet he never gave us any pocket money. He'd leave all his loose change lying out on the dresser in the bedroom, loads of it. I didn't know he counted every penny, so I stole 50 pence. And my dad found out, he went absolutely apeshit, punching me and slapping me until I ended up on the floor. To stop him kicking me in the